All right, so at least you're thinking about running for president. So I got to get you to clarify a couple very controversial comments you've made. You and I have known each other for a long time. We're both Johns Hopkins University alumni, if you will. So it was pretty stunning to me when you said this. The comparison has been widely reported about the United States and Nazi Germany. I'm going to play the clip, and then I want you to explain, Dr. Carson, what you meant.
Very much like Nazi Germany, and I know you're not supposed to say Nazi Germany, but I don't care about political correctness. You know, you had a government using its tools to intimidate the population. We now live in a society where people are afraid to say what they actually believe. And it's because of the PC police, it's because of politicians, it's because of news. It's all of these things are combining to stifle people's conversation.
All right, so you got to explain that, because when I heard the comparison of the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, the greatest country ever, to Nazi Germany, I said, what is he talking about?
Well, see, what you were doing is allowing words to affect you more than listening to what was actually being said.
All right, so please explain
that. And
that's
part of the problem.
I greatly admire you and what you've done over the years, but to make the comparison of the United States and Nazi Germany, that just struck an awful tone.
Well, Nazi Germany experienced something horrible. The people in Nazi Germany largely did not believe in what Hitler was doing. But did they say anything? Of course not. They kept their mouths shut. And there are some very important lessons to be learned there. The fact that our government is using instruments of government like the IRS to punish its opponents. This is not the kind of thing that, as far as I'm concerned, is a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an American issue. This is something that threatens all of our liberty, all of our freedom. And you can go out on the street and just talk to people, and you will see that a lot of people do not feel free to express themselves. And in fact, this is America, a place where people came to from other parts of the world to escape from governments that told them what they could say and what they couldn't say, where they could live, you know, all these kinds of things. This is a country that is supposed to be for of and by the people. The government is supposed to conform to the will of the people, not the people to the will of the government. We have to change that. We have to change it very soon.
I understand all of that, and there's obviously no problem criticizing the United States government, saying all of that stuff. But to make the comparison, Dr. Carson, to Nazi Germany, the slaughter of 6 million Jews by the Nazis, the devastation that erupted in Europe and around the world, to the United States of America, I want you to reflect on what that potentially means.
Well, again, you are just focusing on the words Nazi Germany and completely missing the point of what is being said. And that's the problem right now. That's what PCism is all about. You may not say this word, regardless of what your point is, because if you say that word, I go into a tizzy. We can do better than that. You know, when I was a child and when you were a child, they used to say, "Sticks and stones break my bones. Words will never hurt me." Whatever happened to that? We need to get to the point where we can look beyond the word and look for the meaning and understand that, in fact, our country is changing, that, in fact, there are people here who feel threatened. Yes, there are people who are intimidated by what's going on. This has never been the intention for America, and unless we're willing to face it, we're not going to conquer it.
All right, so I'm going to move on. We have more questions for you, Dr. Carson, but you don't want to revise or amend, take back the Nazi Germany comment?
Absolutely not.
All right, stand by, Dr. Carson. We have much more to discuss, including some other controversial comments you've made. Dr. Ben Carson, a possible Republican presidential candidate, is with us. More questions for him coming up. We're back with Dr. Ben Carson, the famed Johns Hopkins University pediatric neurosurgeon who's now thinking, he told us a little while ago, he's actually thinking of running for the Republican presidential nomination. Dr. Carson, once again, thanks very much for joining us. Since you're thinking about running for president of the United States, you need to explain another controversial comment you made back in October of last year, the analogy between Obamacare and slavery. Listen to this.
I have to tell you, Obamacare is really, I think, the worst thing that has happened in this nation since slavery. And it is, in a way, it is slavery, in a way, because it is making all of us subservient.
All right, so I know you don't like Obamacare. A lot of people don't like Obamacare. But the worst thing that has happened in the United States since slavery, you need to explain that.
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity to explain that, because I've seen, particularly in the left-wing press, a lot of people who said that Carson equates Obamacare with slavery. I think perhaps those people need to go back to school and learn English. It said the worst thing since slavery. That does not say that it is the same as slavery. Slavery was a horrible thing and affected many people in horrible ways. Some of those effects still present today. So no, it is not the same as slavery. However, what needs to be understood here is that the way this country was set up, the people, we the people, were set up at the pinnacle of power in this nation. The government is supposed to conform to our will. By taking the most important thing you have, your health and your health care, and turning that over to the government, you fundamentally shift the power, a huge chunk of it, from the people to the government. This is not the direction that we want to go in this nation. Do I want good health care for everybody? Absolutely. Do we have the ability to give it to everybody? Absolutely. And I've made many suggestions on how that should be done. SaveOurHealthcare.org. And there will be many more coming out. But I want the kind of health care system that is truly affordable. That's not jacking up people's rates to the point where they can't afford it. And that is causing people to lose 40-hour-a-week work jobs and go to 30 or 29-hour-a-week jobs. I want a system where everybody is equal, not a two-tier system where physicians save a number of slots for people in one tier versus the other tier because they have to make ends meet. That is not American as far as I'm concerned, and we can do so much better than that.
Well, because you're very precise with your words, I know you. You say that Obamacare is the worst thing that has happened in this nation since slavery. Worse than the Great Depression of the 1920s, worse than the Vietnam War, worse than 9/11?
Well, Wolf, I think it's non-productive to get into, is it worse than this and worse than that? Or maybe it's better than this or better than that. That's not the point of what I was saying. The point of what I'm saying, and we have to learn how to talk about what is the point. The point is a major fundamental shift of power has occurred. If we continue down that road, the United States of America becomes something very different than it was intended to be.
All right, let's move on and quickly get your thought on immigration reform.